albums. Doing a tier list of those guys. We got all of them, all the main albums, Death to False Metal, and all that shit. And then the hidden album that's not actually an album, but it's what the space opera, what Pinkerton was supposed to be originally. It was going to be a space opera. I can't remember what the name of it is. There's only a couple bands that I feel qualified to do a tier list of for these guys. It's mainly Weezer and Radiohead. A lot of 90s bands, 2000s stuff. But those are the main two. Like, I've listened to all their albums. And, you know, I feel like I can accurately say something like that. Anyway, we'll go ahead. I like this. Same format. I like how it's order. I found a tier maker list that had it all the way up to Van Weezer. That's awesome. Cool. All right. So yeah, let's go ahead and everything will be all right in the end. It goes... Oh, and then also I have Rate Your Music open just for reference and everything, in case you need to look at something like the track listing. Anyway, I can't remember when I really started getting into Weezer again. I think it was during the White Album, but when the singles were coming out for the White Album, I was listening to this. And for the longest time, I thought this was better than the White Album, but it's... No, I think over time I've gotten... My opinion's changed, but I'm going to put in the A tier because a lot of people like to... I mean, obviously in the Weezer community, everyone that... There's always that stereotype opinion that, anything post-Pinkerton is garbage. Shut the fuck up. That just means you're closed-minded. You're not willing to listen to anything, even if it's garbage. So, yeah. So that just shows what you're willing to try and not try. Anyway. This is pretty solid of a track listing. It goes back to the pop rock and alt rock sound for the most part. It's pretty safe. It's I want to say it goes back to the early 2000s Green Album, Maladroit era Weezer and everything. And then I just want to look at the track listing too, so we can go to that. Just because I can use that for a reference. Yeah. It starts off great, Ain't Nobody, Back to the Shabak's a good single. I just look at the, like, this is definitely one of those albums where I'd rather just listen to it all the way through than mainly the singles. If I find myself listening to the singles or a single song out of it, like if I'm shuffling my Spotify, I'd probably listen to The British Are Coming. I really like that track. Foolish Father, probably the... Wow, that might... Okay, so I'm not counting the Futurescape trilogy. That's like an epilogue to the album. That's just like a fucking treat, man. That was just like... It's just an instrumental track or trilogy, and it's fucking awesome. It slaps. I wish I could find somewhere where they put it all together so I could listen to it all at once and then put it on my workout playlist. It's really good. But I don't know. I just count that as like an epilogue, so if I counted all these tracks, then it's still a fucking awesome album. Foolish Father. I might listen to Da Vinci by itself, but yeah, there's a couple not lackluster, but the weaker ones and stuff. I wouldn't listen to Cleopatra by itself. I like it and Go Away. Just seems like a weird, like a very Weezer duet. It's just Weezer if they did a duet song. Sorry, I'm drinking my coffee so I can stay awake. Anyway, basically just... Yeah, no, I like that. It's pretty solid of an album. If I had to give it a score, it'd probably be like a 7 to an 8 out of 10. I definitely put it... There's a time of the year when I want to listen to this, but I definitely listen to it at least more than a handful of times a year and everything. So now the White Album... So this, for reference, this came out in 2014. Everything will be all right. I always say it wrong. Iwa Bait is how I say it. It's probably wrong, but everything will be all right in the end. Then they get even more on track with the White Album, and that's an easy A tier. That's easy money, easy. Um, a lot of people say this is the best post Pinkerton album. Uh, for right now, I think I agree with that. I think what they were working on with the previous album and everything, with everything, uh, it's just better. It's just better done. I think they focus more in on the um, somebody said that a lot of these songs are 3 minutes 30 seconds, and yeah, they basically are. Like God, yeah, these are really good. Just everything. Again, it's another thing where I'd rather just listen to the entire album. I'm not really listening to too much because once I want to listen to a single song on it, I just want to listen to the whole thing. Do You Want to Get High is a really good single. Uh, wow, there's endless, but yeah, there's just so many things here that like I'd rather just like just looking at the track list. I'd rather just listen to this album all the way through because it's so good. It's really short too. That makes it a lot better. At least for me, it makes it more digestible and stuff. I would say that if you definitely like that sort of thing, like short, I'm a shorter album guy, so this is just the candy to me and stuff. But yeah, no, California Kids, they're all good. I would think that Summer Lane and Drunk Dory is probably the weakest song on it, but it's still good. I still like it. It's sandwiched in between King of the World and LA Girls, which is one of the other better songs. Wind in Our Sails, yeah, they're just all really good. This is a very big summer album, and I always listen to this. Like, it's always on repeat. It's always downloaded on my Spotify, so I can just listen to it whenever, in the summer at least. But again, I'm listening to it multiple times a year. It's an easy pick for A tier and stuff. Uh, wow. Okay. Now we're on to the infamous guy that gets really bad. Um, God. That's tough. I think more people for this album make believe. I think some people don't like certain singles off of it. Well, I know a lot of people don't. I don't know if I'd put it down in D. If it is, it's. I just put it here in the C, because they definitely get worse than this. So that's why I put it in C tier, because they get worse on later albums, where they try to just boilerplate pop rock their way into the mainstream, and I feel like they just did way too much compromising on this. Okay, let me check this out again. Because I know Beverly Hills, that's yeah, but I actually like Perfect Situation. I think that's a good song and stuff. But We Are All on Drugs, those are like all the three singles I remember out of this, and then I really didn't care for listening to this over again. Past a few times, it's honestly not even in my Spotify. Like, it's just the singles off of it. And probably the one song I'm listening to the most is Perfect Situation, and then maybe Beverly Hills if I'm going through like a Weezer phase and stuff at the time. So I just can't. Like, I just can't with this. I just feel like it's it. I might put it down in D tier later on, but it's very middling and stuff. It's just, hey, what if Weezer just did pop rock to the barest of essentials and stuff? And I was just not into it. I remember when it came out, though. I probably liked it. I liked it younger when I was a kid. That's probably a good way of putting it. Because I don't think a lot of the older fans, anyone that's older, likes it, or it's gotten better over the years. I don't think anyone's making that sort of opinion. Maladroit. Wow, I did not. So this took me a really long time to discover Maladroit. I think I touched it once, and I didn't like it. But then when I was going through my phase of Weezer again, I remember I wanted to just. I ended up really liking it. So much so that like you're gonna see later on, but I'm gonna put it right there on the beat here. I almost would put it up here in A, but I think it's a strong B instead because um, just there's a lot of tracks into it. Basically what they did with the Green Album was like a straightforward pop rock, alt rock record where it's the same thing as the White Album where it's just straightforward tunes. But then in Maladroit, they get they do the complete opposite flip side and they take that genre of music and they try to experiment with it in like weird ways and stuff. And I'm not saying they don't have singles on it and everything, but like let's look at this. Like you got like the basic songs like Keep Fishing, Dope Nose, all that stuff. I think Death and Destruction gets a little bit. I think that's the one. Yeah, there's just a lot of good songs here and stuff. I think this is definitely the more interesting of the early 2000s Weezer. I think if something I will say is that it really feels like a weird transition. So if you go from Pinkerton to the Green Album, it doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of their sound because it's just like a complete left field turn where they go back to kind of like the shiny pop rock aesthetic they were going for a little bit, even more so than on the Blue Album. And wow, it was just a weird transition. Then they go back to the Weezer, and then they go back to Maladroit, and then they go to Make Believe, and you're like, what the fucking fuck are they doing? They can't stay consistent with their sound. It doesn't even sound like a natural evolution or anything of it. So I was just, it's just very interesting. But God, yeah, no, Burnt Jab is really good. I think honestly, I want to listen to this a little bit more, but it doesn't change my placement of it. I still think that so I feel like it's the next one to Everything Will Be Alright. I'll put an order in this later, but this for right now would be like Maladroit, then this, unless if I do it like that, I don't know if that makes more sense. So like that way if I put it up there. But yeah. I just feel like the songs are a little bit better well crafted in Everything Will Be Alright than it is in Maladroit. I just feel like having another 10 years of experience being as songwriters and musicians, I feel like they just honed in a little bit more of that sound and the songs are a little bit more well written because I find myself going back to this more than I do this. But still, it's a good album. It's definitely like I would listen to it all the way through and everything. Pinkerton's S tier. That's easy. I don't want to die today, so we don't have to fight that. So let's look at the track list for it. I know I really like Get You I really like, but it's Across the Sea. Across the Sea is my favorite song off the album. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the build-up crescendo to it and everything, and then it's funny because it gets a lot of emo elements to it, and it's funny because it's not my favorite emo. Like, there's obviously more straightforward emo, like alt rock and then indie rock albums. I would say Brand New accomplishes that a little bit better, but for this, it was pretty good. I think I used to like this a lot more when I was a little bit more younger in my early 20s, in terms of like the angst and shit. And not to say I don't like the album. I love the album and stuff. It's I think I like Butterfly a lot. Pink Triangle, Falling for You. It's really weird because they have a knack for having their weakest songs, at least in my opinion, on Weezer albums tend to be in like the second half of the track list, but never the final song. I always think the final song is really good, but like it's always here. El Scorcho's good, but yeah. I think I don't find myself listening to more of the singles out of here because, again, it's the same thing. I'd rather just listen to the whole album, and it's only 35 minutes and stuff. Frankly, yeah, the last time I can't even remember the last time where I listened to a Pinkerton song that either wasn't on my workout playlist when I'm doing like squats or something, or yeah, otherwise I'm going to listen to Across the Sea, or I'm just going to listen to the whole album. But yeah, no, it's a good album. Highly recommend. And I love that it's in the top 500 albums overall. Yeah, no, it's fucking good. It's a little just hard on the ears if you don't like the more distortion heavy. And the really cool thing is, I don't know if it says who the producer was on the album, because they just did it themselves. This is like the one album where they did it themselves, and I love that. I love when a band does that and stuff. It takes it's a lot more raw, low fidelity. I love that sort of shit. I think that sound. I think just I've gotten away from more low fidelity style albums where it's self-produced, but I think the vision of what they were trying to accomplish is a lot more realized and organic, if that makes sense. But anyway, so yeah, I just loved what they did with this. And obviously this was going to be from a different EP or whatever. It was going to be from something else. But because of Rivers Cuomo and the backlash or something I think he got from it, he eventually went with the Green Album. But I really wish the original intent they could have gone with could have been like their best album, if they decide to ever release that. And then my favorite of theirs, which is an easy S tier, is the Blue Album. So yeah, you got. There's always that's a better debate. Okay, so the debate between Blue and Pinkerton is a way better debate than saying Pinkerton, anything post Pinkerton is garbage. That is such a shit, closed-minded opinion. I'd rather someone defend Pinkerton over Weezer any day of the week. That's totally fine. Agree to disagree and shit. For me, at least, it's a mix of nostalgia. And I think about, yeah, just because like I remember the singles for this song like coming out because I was born in the mid '90s, and I remember the singles when I was a kid on the radio for this. And obviously they're still around. You could probably listen to "Say It Ain't So" or "Buddy Holly" on the radio if you found an alt rock station. Hell, it might even be classified as classic rock, which would make me cringe really hard. But anyway, it's just it. I think it accomplishes what my preference in music is, where it has a pop flavor to it that isn't distorted in the songwriting or the instrumental of the music. I feel like with the sound, the grungy alt rock sound that they had, and to be fair, that was kind of like what was popular at the time in the mid 90s. It was 1994, I think, when this came out. I just think it worked out perfectly. They found a way to make that sound with good hooks and songs and everything, and I just think it is executed flawlessly and stuff. I think just again, I'd rather just listen to the whole thing, but Jesus Christ, and this is an example of where my opinion of the album in terms of which songs I like the most has changed over time. Because at first I think I would have liked the more popular tracks like No One Else, The World Has Turned, and Buddy Holly. And as I got older, I think I found myself, and I don't know if that's the popular opinion or not, but I found myself listening to the Sweater Song, Only in Dreams, I think the most now. Oh my god, that's such a fucking good song. It's such a, if you want an example of a slow burner, Only in Dreams is a very good song. It's a very good example of that. But I would honestly say this is probably, and the reason why it's, well, The reason why I think I view it higher than that, but I don't know if it's the reason why, but I'll just say this is probably in my top 10, maybe my top 5 albums of all time that I personally like, that I personally get enjoyment out of. This is something I can just put on. It's super easy. And it's funny because like the people I talk to, if like they're gonna listen to Weezer, they'd rather just listen to the classic Weezer, like Blue Album style and stuff. I don't think I find anyone who is listening to Weezer that wants to listen to anything but maybe Island on the Sun. But in terms of songs on a singular album, it's always the Blue Album. It's always the Blue Album. It's a lot harder to convince a normie to fucking listen to Pinkerton than it is the Blue Album. And I think the people that are Pinkerton fans can agree with that statement. But yeah, everything's awesome on this. Maybe my least favorite would be like Holiday. It's really just Holiday. It is the weakest track, but In the Garage is awesome. I've grown more and more. Also, I just gotta say, this is a good skateboarding album. If you ever go skateboarding, listen to this fucking shit. It makes you fucking feel like a Chad, honestly. Okay. The Green Album is the Blue Album, but more focused on the poppiness and less drawn out. It's where they try to craft that 3 minute 30-second style sound and everything. At least I think so. I haven't actually looked at the lengths of the track listing. It's a short pop rock power pop. I'm saying it wrong as it's classified as this, but there's definitely a lot of singles here that Island of the Sun is really good, but the more I've listened to this, the more I've realized that it's very obvious when I listen to this again. There's just like a single guitar hook that they're going for that they played through the entire individual song, and then they stick with it. I'm not saying that's bad. They were able to like make it catchy and stuff, but it's just very straightforward about it, and that's what loses a little bit of the interest for me. Because honestly, it's just because of my personal preference. I don't like that very cheap power pop smoothness, I guess. I just think that if you make the songs each individually a little bit more interesting, you kind of accomplish a White Album, or even Everything We All Right kind of is a little bit more experimental, but it's more of a White Album, and I feel like I find myself listening to White Album. White Album has a theme too. It goes back. It tries to take a little bit more Beach Boys influence, and it's like a summer vibe. Versus, again, Weezer is just the Green Album is just kind of by itself and just like a straightforward power pop record, pop rock record. But yeah, Hurley is a weaker version of the Green Album, I would think. It's Weezer's first attempt at trying to go back to that original sound after experimenting with more dance stuff, like dance pop or whatever. And it's got mixed results. So I'd put it there. I don't think I find myself really listening to... I don't really listen to Hurley that much. Like, I listen to maybe... I gotta look at the track listing. Hurley... I should have done this backwards. Memories I listen to. Where's My Sex? Yeah, I listened to this a couple times, and I didn't think it could get less interesting with the power pop and stuff than it could on the Green Album, but I think there's a certain cutoff, which is why I'm putting it in the C tier, where it's just like, I just think it's to the point of genericness, is I think where the C tier has kind of fallen for me, is where it gets into this weird generic sound. But like, I don't know, man. It just that's all I can say about it. I'm not finding myself listening to Hurley, nor the only time I am listening to Hurley, at least all the way through, is when I'm reaffirming my opinion about my disapproval of it, if that makes sense. Ooh, okay. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. So, shit. I should know this. Fuck. Losing my train of thought right now. It's Van Weezer and shit. What was the name of it? Fuck. You're gonna hate me for this. Okay, Human. Fuck me, God. Okay. So Okay, Human. It came out this year. Guess what I'm gonna do with this? Boom! It's in the A tier. It's in my top 3, or it's in my top 5, if not my top 3 for. I'd have to go through a list of my favorite albums of 2021, but it is like in my top 3 and stuff. I know there's I know Black Country New Road is that's a completely different band and stuff, but that is probably my favorite album of theirs of 2021 that came out. But this is a very close second, I would say. I'd have to look at that list again, but goddamn, I have listened to this so many times this year, and it is so good. It is very easy on the ears because they go in this chamber pop, Beatles-esque, not White Album, but like think Revolver style chamber pop sound. They mix it with a little bit of the Beach Boys, and then there's that Weezer flavor that they add to it, obviously. And it is so goddamn good. It is like one of the easiest on the ears albums you could possibly listen to, and it's so fun to listen to. I have it downloaded still. I was actually listening to it, I think, just yesterday, the whole way through, and I was like, you know what, I want to, because I was trying to find something to play an album I could just put in the background and get some work done. That was my first pick, but I ended up going with something else. I can't remember what I was listening to, if it was like Metallica or something. It just depends on the mood. Honestly, this is such an easy on the ears, easygoing album. It is so good, though. All my favorite songs is one of the best singles of the year. I think it's okay. So if this isn't my favorite album of the year, it has my favorite song of the year. I got my Spotify Wrapped, and they said that like I listened to I'm in like the 0.5% percentile of people that listen to Weezer, and my favorite song was all my favorite songs by them. So just saying, like, this is oh my God, I'm so glad that after like the stint that we had with like Pacific Daydream, the Black Album, and I'll get to all those albums in a sec. But this is, oh my God, it was like, because the expectation I had at post White Album was that they were just going to have that level of quality coming back. It wasn't the case, but with this, it was kind of just like lightning in a bottle. Fucking, I didn't think this was going to work out, and it all works out. And I'm like, I'm so freaking happy and stuff. All my favorite songs. This is one of the easier songs I find myself like singing to when I'm like washing dishes and stuff too. But like they're so catchy, so fun. God damn, the album cover, just even the album, like it's gonna be one of the better Weezer albums. Like once they retire, it's gonna be like in their top album, maybe not top 5, but yeah. But like that's good. Numbers, playing my piano. The only thing obviously is this is just a interlude track, but everything's got a little bit of different mood. I think maybe the ending is just kind of the only thing, but seriously, this album is awesome. I would highly recommend. And it just came out. It came out this year. It's almost a year old. I highly recommend. It's very good. Honestly, and just so we're clear, I put this above Everything Will Be Alright. So I think this is the 4th best Weezer album. I think the songs are just a little bit tighter on the White Album than they are in this, but the experimentation that they do on OK Human versus Everything Will Be Alright is way more successful. The execution is way more successful. So awesome. And then we go to Pacific Daydream, and it's a D tier because I've listened to it probably twice and didn't have a good time. It's just make believe over again. They try to go back to this pop rock boilerplate sound that doesn't pan out, and I just don't like it, and other people don't either. Because, goddamn, it's probably the lowest rated one, and I can't remember. When I first, Feels Like Summer. Oh god, when I first heard that, I was like a little bit. I was doing that Dwayne The Rock Johnson, like one eye like twitching open kind of thing. Like, I'm gonna type it in real quick. The Rock, if I can do that. It's whatever this meme is. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was just that dumb shit where I'm just like, what the fuck? And that was my reaction to listening to that. And then I listened to the album, and I proceeded to not want to listen to it again. It was just like, what the heck is going on? The cover art's cool. I really like the cover art, but it just didn't pan out. It's one of those experiments that just didn't work out and everything, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Same thing with Gratitude. I really like the first song on it. I really like If You're Wondering If I Want You To. I like that song. Oh my god, Can't Start Partying is the closest thing for a Weezer song that gave me a brain aneurysm. But, oof. It sounds as good as it looks of an album cover. That's all I'm gonna say. I would not recommend unless you just wanted to do a deep dive. So, oh my god, this looks so shit. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't do it, man. I guess if you want to know what Weezer sounds like with dance pop and pop rock mixed, that's what it sounds like. Ugh. Oof. Okay, so the newest one, Van Weezer. Hang on, let me look at the track list. I've listened to this a couple times, more than a couple times. I really like The Beginning of the End. That is probably one of my favorite songs of the year too. It's on my workout playlist actually. I really like it. Hero is good. End of the Game is a little bit too hard rock, basic formula, boilerplate. I think it has the same problem as Hurley, but in a different vein where they try to go in a direction of mixing their sound and then with elements. It's like the unsuccessful version of OK Human where they try to do a different sound mixed with their style, and it's kind of unsuccessful. I don't find myself wanting to listen to Van Weezer that often. I definitely like this is a pretty good album for singles, but it's just not good for 80s rock, so I'd put it down here. I'd put it next to Hurley. It's about on the same level as Hurley. And I think now I'm gonna, oh god, that's tough. Wow. Yeah. Okay, Black Album. I was really hyped for this because they usually have something to say when they do like a colored album. And this is where they go total blackface. This is where they totally go blackface, like quite literally. And Oh God. I remember the singles coming out for it. I really liked. Can't Knock the Hustle was good. High as a Kite is like the best song off of this. But when I heard Byzantine, oh, oh God, I forgot California Snows on this. Oh shit. Oh, it's got. Oh, it's very front heavy of an album. Because once I get past Living in LA, there's already some tropes to it that, like, this is where it becomes kind of generic. This is where it just becomes like, eh. And then California Snow is, no, I don't like it. So it has the same problem where it just tries to do this. Yeah, they just can't do the sound very well when they try to embrace more modern sounds and start. So I think Weezer is way more successful when they take a sound that's already been done and yeah, I'll put it there. I think they're a lot more successful most of the time when they take a sound that's already been done for so long that isn't in the mainstream currently, and then they try it their own spin on it. Case in point, chamber pop, it works, but when they tried to do hard rock and 80s rock and glam rock, it's not as successful. But that being said, now look at the albums where they try to do a more modern pop sound. They're worse. They're worse and stuff. They're the worst ones of that. They're the worst culprits. The ones that have been sounds that have already gone out of mainstream, they've been more successful at. That's the thing to point out about Weezer. Wow. The Red Album, you know, it shit. It's not good enough, I think, to be put in the B tier because it's better than Hurley. It's better than Hurley. It's the best one next to Hurley. Okay. Let's look at this again. Because I know when I first heard The Greatest Man That Ever Lived, that was one of the best songs by Weezer, I think. Pork and Beans is awesome. That's a really good single by theirs. Hard Songs is good. I can't remember if I really like Dreaming. The Angel and the One I really like. But it's like, again, it's half good, half bad. And yeah, I just think it's unsuccessful experimentation, but I do admire that it kind of goes away from it's better than Make Believe. Yeah, no, I was gonna say, do they do this after Ratchet? I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure they don't. They actually get worse. So never mind. Okay. So yeah, yeah, I think I put it in C tier. I think it's just unsuccessful. Same thing with the Covers album. I actually really like that. I actually thought that Covers album was actually pretty good. It's not anything to write home about, but it was a welcome treat when I think that was in the same year as the Black album when that came out. That was a welcome treat. I thought that was just fun that they did that and stuff. They're unsuccessful a lot of the, or not a lot of the time, but on certain covers. Like there's a cover of a Black Sabbath song, like Paranoid. I just thought that was just whatever they did to make it sound like that, whatever the mixing they did on that, it just sounded really bad. I just didn't like that. But I find myself a lot of the times listening to Africa and a lot of these covers, even though I could listen to the original song, but no, they just, the only problem this one has is that they do it kind of one for one with the sound on some of these songs. I really like this cover art though. I do like the Teal album. Yeah. But Sweet Dreams Are Made of These. Oh yeah, I know. I've got both songs on my Spotify, the original and this cover, and the reason it can make that, the reason why I can enjoy one or the others just because I like Weezer and then they just do the exact same version of it. Though I think that's to a fault and stuff. But again, Mr. Blue Sky, it's awesome. Since they did exactly the same, I have no problem with it. Yeah, no, that's about it. I would think. Wow. I don't know. Okay, let me do this. So this is my. I don't think I'm gonna change brackets, but this. Yep, that's. So now I'm gonna do it in the order of. So the first one that comes in the bracket is the best one, and then so on and so forth. So that way, if I put it in there, it'd be like the next one. So, yep. Nope, that's actually right. But this is worse. Yep. Wow. Yeah. At this point, it's like I don't want to listen to the album. So, the D tier is like I don't even want to listen to the album. Maybe one song's good off of it. Here, it's like half of the songs are good. And everything. Which is pretty good. Like it's pretty good for being a Weezer fan, and I admit that I have a bias and everything towards Weezer, but these are all just kind of like, oh, they have like a couple songs on there that are pretty good. I like something about it. I'll go back and listen to parts of it or put some of those songs in my Spotify. This is where it's like, okay, most of the album's pretty solid. It might suffer from some sort of original sin where it doesn't do much or it doesn't do enough. Case in point, the Green Album, and then I just don't feel like the songs are really that interesting on Maladroit. But once we get to the A tier, it's like, oh my god, yeah, the album's awesome. It's awesome. It's just like everything's good, front to back. And S tier is just like, these are real good, real good. But yeah, no, that's pretty solid in my list. I'm gonna check the community rank now, and I want to see what they said, because I feel like they put stuff up higher than me. Okay, so first off, I'm gonna guess this. So I think that if people did this, they might put the Red Album higher. They might put Hurley higher. They might put Make Believe lower. And maybe the cover's higher. But they might put Green in the A tier, which I won't agree with, but then yeah. Okay, let's just check this out. Okay, they put Maladroit higher. That makes sense. I was pretty solid on that. Everything's pretty solid. I actually, yeah, because outside of this order, the next album would have been Maladroit. That's cool. Yep, they put Hurley higher. They put the Red Album higher. Yep. Why would they put that down there? I don't know. Yeah, but I knew they might have done that. So actually, it was pretty accurate. But it's nice that people... I actually love that people agree that OK Human is pretty much a slap. It just slaps. So, yeah, no, that's is awesome. I was pretty good at guessing that. Anyway, that's my list. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and then I will talk to you guys a little bit later. I might do a Radiohead one at some point, but I'm trying to think of other artists that I know their entire discography, and I really like everything. Or, not like everything, but I know everything. I've listened to everything. But anyway, yep, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. So, yep. All right, check you later.